How's it going, folks? Welcome to FoundFlix. I got an extra special guest, Jamie, on the channel today. It's been a long while. Glad to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me. I live downstairs, but I so rarely get to come into the studio.
Yeah, she doesn't come upstairs too much. It's sort of the forbidden zone up here. By her own choice, I would say. But anyway, yeah, we just checked out a movie called Come to Daddy, and I wanted to do a review on that. And it stars Elijah Wood. I mean, what's the actual log line for the movie? He's a little wiener boy, gets a letter from his dad, and goes to visit him, and he finds out his dad's kind of a weirdo, possibly psychotic.
Yeah, I think the actual IMDb summary calls him like a man baby or a man child.
Oh, it actually goes for that.
It literally does say that.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. It's interesting because Elijah Wood, he's obviously been in lots of big things, like The Lord of the Rings. But it's funny because it's like since then he's kind of just done his own thing. Like he's not even
He does, yeah. I mean, because he can, right?
Well, that's
he was made for life with Lord of the Rings.
I know. Just do a little digital shrinkins and you're good to go.
He hangs out in Austin and frequents the Alamo and.
Yeah, well, that's what's cool is that he's been doing a lot of producing in addition to starring in these weird little kind of indie movies with Spectre Vision is the company, but they've kind of a spiritual ancestor to this one, Greasy Strangler, which is a very, very odd.
Ancestor.
Well, it's also one of the dudes that co-wrote Greasy Strangler wrote Come to Daddy as part of it too.
Well, and apparently the director Ant Timpson was involved in that film as well.
Right.
Yeah.
But they've done Mandy as well, and then this year's Nick Cage wacko movie, Color Out of Space, that was really good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's cool that he's been doing that. It's interesting to see the kind of choices he's made, But it's like I kind of am a little envious in a way, you know what I mean? It's like you made all the big bucks, and now you just get to be in. It's like, oh yeah, I'll just make these cool little weird movies, and I'll get residuals. For the rest of my days. Yeah. Way to go from North, probably. He's probably still getting checks from that. I would hope at least.
Maybe not so much The Good Son, but.
I don't know. Yeah, I would hope so for that one too.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
It is a good one.
Well, he was maintaining went from little Elijah Wood to big boy, and he was working the whole time, and then he was like, screw it after that. Can't really blame him there. But anyway, yeah, if you thought of this just from the title alone, Come to Daddy, you might get the wrong idea about it because it sounds a little weird.
Pervy?
A little pervy based on the title alone, I guess. But yeah, even just like. The different ways that you could say the title, means a lot of different things. Yeah. So like, what's it? Maybe a take of like, in an embracing way. Like you haven't seen your son in a long time.
Like, oh, come to daddy or something.
Come to daddy. Yeah. Oh, that still sounded really creepy. Can I try it again?
Yeah.
Come to daddy.
That's still a little
creepy. Dang, I can't.
I don't know.
I can't
get
that
if you can
out
do
of there.
I always think of Hellraiser because there's that
well, what's
scene,
the Hellraiser take?
Like, come to daddy or Christy or
whatever. Yeah. That's good. But yeah, so it just sounds inherently creepy or perverted or whatever. But that's not necessarily an accurate way to describe the movie. It's much more of it starts like in one place and it goes into a lot more places, if like we had talked about after seeing the movie, just based on the trailer. You kind of think it's one thing because the whole trailer is just him, Elijah Wood, and his dad, Stephen McHattie or whatever, the guy from Pontypool, right? Isn't that what we figured out?
He is from Pontypool, which was another very good film.
Another Canadian movie, or this was at least shot in Canada, I think. Yeah. So the climax of the trailer is him with a knife going, come to daddy, like the nutso version of it, because you never really, whatever. Well, but, sorry, go ahead.
No, you see, I don't know how many versions of the trailer there are.
I'm not sure either.
I think there were at least two, because there was one that we saw where there's the knife or hatchet, whatever that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. A cutting utensil.
Yeah. Then there's the whole, Elijah Wood being like, I'm not a murderer, and then somebody, when I recalled the trailer, couldn't remember who said that, and then maybe it was just a voiceover, but they were like, well, you just killed a person, and so you're like, okay, well, somewhere at some point this shit gets a little crazy.
Somebody dies.
Yeah.
But yeah, that led me to believe, and again, it's kind of like, again, this is the sort of movie that it's better not having any spoilers at all. Again, that's actually what was interesting we said too, is that the movie, or the trailer rather, does not really give you the whole picture of what's going on.
Right.
But then so you actually find yourself while you're watching it actually being surprised, because you're like, oh wow, it's going in this direction and that direction. I had no clue that was even like
Correct.
on the table, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it sort of starts off in a simple way to some extent of him coming home like Norval or something like that.
Norval, which it was, what a weird name.
Yeah, well, he was clearly, again, it's like he's like a spoiled man baby, like you said, and he's got his little haircut and his mustache, and he's even wearing like kind of like a Children of the Corn hat, you know, like a farmer hat when you first see him, and all black, and his little ensemble, you know.
Well, it's like the quintessential hipstery LA look or
yeah,
whatever.
It's definitely an LA thing.
Yeah.
So again, he gets this letter out of nowhere from his dad, and he lives in this remote ass little cabin in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, it starts off and it's
actually a nice cabin.
It was pretty nice. Yeah, right on the water there.
But it's weird.
Yeah, it's all weird.
Which they say at one point, like, looks like kind of like a UFO.
Like a 60s UFO or something.
And I think the director he commented on that in the discussion that happened afterward, the live Q&A. Yeah, but there's a scene where they compare Elijah Wood's haircut to sitting on his head being similar to the cabin sitting on the mountaintop, like it doesn't belong there or something almost. Like it just like landed there and then it just stayed.
Well, that was the elements that kind of remind me of Greasy Strangler, where it's these like
really
hyper real awkward characters. Yeah, like but in this sort of like not kind of like Napoleon Dynamite too. This where it's created its own universe with the character. You know what I mean? And especially with his look because it was absurd. But yeah, there's this kind of interesting, like, I actually, there were some parts of me that liked that opening chunk of the movie more just because of this weird dichotomy with him and his dad, and they both kind of are strange and liars and all this stuff that it's like more of their characters become exposed over time. And I don't know, it's just really interesting how they were developing that, where he's like trying to talk himself up. Elijah Wood is a big like music guy, and I actually know Elton John or whatever, and calls him
actually really big in the scene.
Yeah, and then of course his dad's like, actually I was his driver for 10 years, and let me give him a call. And of course as soon as he starts to dial, he's like, no, don't do that. And and then he's even like, that's not how you impress me. Remember that he's going to bed that night after that, and it's like, have you ever been in a fight before?
Right.
And he's like, no. He's like, one time I kicked a guy's ears off or whatever. Yeah, like stuff like that. It's just like very, and then, good night. Yeah, like, what an interesting way to leave things on as far as that's concerned. But again, it's hard to keep describing the movie without really spoiling things.
Right.
So, I mean, again, it's suffice to say, if you want to see it, go see it, and don't keep watching this video, but at least it's worth, I would say, kind of the next step of things plot-wise, without going to the even later step. You know what I mean? So, sort of the big surprise is during that come to daddy attack scene or whatever. After they get in another argument, he kind of like tries to stand up for himself, Elijah Wood, a little bit. He keeps asking, "Why did you send me the letter?" So that's the whole thing.
Yeah. So he was prompted to go visit his father, who apparently is estranged, and he's not been around for years and years, and he basically knows nothing about him because his mother has raised him as a single mother. And he keeps asking why he wrote me the letter, and I don't think we actually get to hear what was in the letter.
We do hear it way later, but anyway.
Way later. We don't get to hear that until
much later. Many more plot moves after that. Yes.
Yeah. So we don't know what was said to compel him to come visit his father, but something obviously had an impact for him to come see him, and. Again, I don't want to give too many things. I rethought the scene where he knocks on the door and Stephen McHattie answers, and he kind of has this moment where he's like, looks kind of confused.
Right.
And then goes in for like a big old bear hug or whatever, and there's this moment like, is this going to happen? Like, okay, yes, he is welcoming him into the home or whatever.
But there's already an air of like something's off about everything.
Right. And you're not sure if it's the situation entirely or his dad's just really weird or they're both weird as we kind of find out.
It's kind of all the above in a bit of a sense. But yeah, I mean, so then the sort of first major surprise is when that fight happens, when, it brings the knife out in the come to daddy moment. And then he has a heart attack, and dies right there on the spot. So and that wasn't even that long into the movie, and I was kind of already like, whoa, that wasn't what I expected at all. But and so it almost turns into more potentially supernatural for a while.
It does.
He keeps kind of hearing these noises in the house and these clangs or other.
Yeah, we talked about that for a while. Like, is this going to take a supernatural direction, I guess?
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's some things with the dead body that you're like, did that just happen? Is he imagining that in his head?
Right.
Or
well, yeah, like
is
even
something
the zipper
weird
keeps coming
going
undone on his body bag and stuff like that. Yeah, so I kind of like that. Again, major shift from where it was before and that kind of stuff too. It was just a very, they did that well and just a sort of escalation in that sense. But, and it wasn't even done at that point. But it's almost like, I feel like the next step of the stuff is too much. But it kind of continues on its roller coaster from there. It's already like, whoa, you kind of blindsided me with that plot development. And again, it's like, oh, is it his ghost or whatever? I mean, who knows, But
is the house haunted?
Yeah, it could be haunted as well.
Somebody else down there. I thought at one point I was like, well, it seems like this guy's into some pretty possibly bad, illegal, criminal activities. So maybe there's somebody chained up down there. I don't know.
And possibly that is the case. Somebody could be. And actually, I guess that thing too of just his dad dropping dead, and it's kind of like you don't really know who your dad is. That was the director too. That happened to him, right?
Right. Yeah. I don't know so much if he didn't know his dad, other than that his dad was just kind of a weird dude or something. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he did say that I think it was his stepmother, so I'm sorry if that's incorrect, but she basically did have this days long, viewing type thing or whatever, and invited him and his siblings to come, basically said, I'm leaving, you guys have fun hanging with your dad's body. And
thought it was an important part of the grieving process.
Encourage you to talk to him and, things that you couldn't have shared or confronted when he was alive, that now you have the opportunity to do that. And that all the siblings apparently were busy, as he said, or whatever. Right. And so he ended up being the only person hanging out with the corpse or whatever. And that it was this, I imagine, very strange experience.
Yeah.
It probably would have left quite an impression on you. So
yeah. Well,
I don't remember how old he said he was.
I don't remember that either. But it made enough of an impression that he made a movie using a plot that revolves around that, at least to some capacity. But and again, this guy hasn't actually directed a movie before, and I thought he did well. It was kind of blending a lot of tones and styles, but doing it pretty well.
Right.
It was funny, and again, more gory and kind of more exciting and all this kind of stuff too. Yeah, I know one thing that popped in your head right there.
There's some definite gore.
Yeah. Well, the one you're talking about, the penis stabbing thing.
Well,
right?
I thought we weren't giving things away.
Well, that's more general. That's not plot specific.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want penis stabbings, go get your tickets.
Brutal.
Ouch. And it's ow. And I was just even thinking about it. I'm like, whoo, hee. Can feel it. Ouch. No, thank you. But yeah, it's awesome. I mean, again, I liked it just because it was very obviously weird and different and quirky. And again, it's one of those things too. We talked about that too. A lot of times when you watch, you can tell how indie a movie is by how many studio fanfare logos there are at the beginning of it. If it's Warner Brothers presents Annabelle into House or whatever, and you're and this one it's
in association with Canadian Films,
and Bluebird Productions and 50 other ones, and then you're like, golly, and awarded council from the New Zealand or whatever.
Right. Well, they said it was Ireland, Canada, and
New Zealand.
And New Zealand.
Yeah, a co-production of all that. So, and it still couldn't have been that much money. So it's okay, we'll give you $5 and you get $5. You know what I mean? But it's still cool that they made it, and I do like the overall surprise element to it, especially not knowing as much going in helps a lot. But even if you did know, I don't think that would ruin it. It's still really, it's just well executed, I think, and it's cool. Elijah Wood was great, right? I mean,
he's always good, but he has a knack, I think, for weird characters,
Well, that's bread and butter right there, right?
Yeah.
But it's the same thing as the rest of the movie, where he sort of starts in one way, personality-wise, and he kind of plumbs the depths of who he is over the course of things, and comes out a different person on the other end. So there's a lot of range to his character overall, which is always, cool to see an actor have an actual role with meat to it. They can get up in there on. But I don't know, was there anything you didn't like about it, or?
I mean, we talked a little bit about the pacing and the story itself being a little bit disjointed, but...
Well, sure, because it's so many styles, too. It's a little, like, keeps your head spinning the whole time.
Right, and there's a very abrupt shift in the tone. Not completely the tone, but the direction that you think that you're going in as an audience member, and then after a discovery is made, you go in a different direction.
Well, and it does that a few times, too, where it's almost like what the movie is about now is so drastically different than 15 minutes ago. Right. And even like some of the cop character that comes in, he was literally in like 2 scenes in the whole movie, if not just one,
Raisin eyes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's how you can tell someone is bad if they've got raisin eyes. Luckily, Elijah Wood has nice, kind eyes. So
yeah, they said there were at least, I think, 3 different references to judging by a person's like physical appearance, whether or not they were somebody that was nice or that you could trust or that wasn't bad or something, which I thought was kind of an interesting theme that he was clearly playing with.
Right, what you look like versus who you are on the inside and stuff.
Well, yeah, or I don't know if that was like from personal experience or if it was something specific to the film that he was trying to communicate or whatever, but that was definitely mentioned a few times,
So, I mean, overall, consensus was worth seeing? Go check it out in theaters? Or
I would highly encourage, anyone to go see it. It was very different and unique. And, we already said Elijah Wood was great. First time debut, I guess. Yeah,
for a debut movie. I'm like, let's see what else you got.
Yeah.
Ant, right?
Yeah.
Well, so I think it's I think it just opened. Last week we saw that when it first came out. I don't know if it's only playing at draft houses or whatever, but
I'm not sure.
Check it out if you're a fan of. I was trying to even think of other movies that are like it. The closest I could think of was
Greasy Strangler.
But also kind of like Sexy Beast. I don't know. Do you remember that movie with Ben Kingsley?
Yeah, I think I actually finished that.
Well, whatever. It was just again where it had this kind of like massive changing tone and unexpected degree or changes in the story and stuff like that, but again, so it's unique in that sense too, as far as how it blends all those genres together. But check it out, look it up and see where it's at, if it's playing near you. Hopefully it is. And it's a tiny little movie, and obviously I don't even know, it probably is so much money for them to even put this thing in theaters. Like it's worth supporting. Don't go see fucking what's coming out. Hopefully you didn't see Doolittle.
The Turning.
Don't see The Turning. Yeah.
Sorry, Mackenzie Davis.
Yeah, I know we love you, Mackenzie, but that was a big old stinky poo. Well, if you didn't see The Turning, then just go watch my video about it and save yourself $16 anyway. So that's my tip of the week. Save you some cash.
And if you like the film, they also debuted at the screening that we went to. We weren't actually at the LA screening, but they live cast the Q&A.
Yeah.
And they did debut some pretty cool artwork from Ghoulish Gary Viamondo for a poster that was really cool.
That was pretty sweet. I think they're sold out already.
I was going to say it's probably already sold out. Yeah. But if you want to see the artwork, you can
cool.
Google it.
I mean, I can put it on the screen too. Yeah. With the power of editing.
Yeah.
There it is. Drink it in. Literally, because I think it's a big glass of booze. But and Elijah Wood doesn't drink. He used to be a drinker in the movie.
Yeah.
His dad is friggin' hammered the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Or Stephen McCaddy or whatever.
He's retired, but he's pretty much just drinking nonstop. Yeah. I think that's probably was partially what led to him having a heart attack, but...
Right.
Who knows?
He was very, like, angry blood, too. He was just very...
Yeah. Seems like he'd probably been through a lot.
Yeah. Well, certainly, yeah.
Yeah.
The one last thing that I would say, too, is like part of that, because there was a Q&A thing that reminded me. I mean, it's, again, kind of dancing that line there of spoiling stuff. But with that later thing, like the sheer amount of extra backstory that he had come up with, that it was like, oh, that's interesting, because you don't really need that in the movie. But hearing about it did, like, connect a lot more to it and stuff like that. It's like there's almost enough story there to do, like, a whole other movie, like a spin-off, you know?
That's what Elijah Wood alluded to. He was like, that should be the next movie.
Oh, that's right. Like, I think you're right. They did actually say that, but
that his friend that had, I guess, did he co-write it? I don't know.
I think it was Ant and then somebody else.
But whoever he had, somebody that he
was the Greasy Strangler guy
working with, and they had done apparently like a whole compendium of stuff about the characters that. Yeah,
but that was cool. I mean, I was like,
Bangkok, I think it was, where they were in Thailand and kidnapping a princess or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. See, there's just a taste of where things go. Kidnappings and who knows, ransoms and all those kinds of things. Excitement and crime.
Yeah.
Come to Daddy's got it all. And penis stabbings.
Dominatrix.
Yeah.
Dominatrices. What's the plural of that? A dominatrix.
At least one.
At least one.
I don't know that there was a flock of them or whatever you call more than one. But
yeah.
So it kind of hits all the bases in that sense of what you're looking for in a weird movie. So yeah, again, check it out. Has our stamp of approval, I would say. Well, thanks, Jamie, for coming back. Would you be interested in coming back more regularly and doing more of these weird movies that I don't have? So the whole point of this video is I don't have time to do ending explains for every movie I go see.
But I like the weird movies.
Yeah, so when we watch tons of weird shit at home, and I'm like, I can't spend 5 days on like 20 of these movies. So this makes it way easier, and we can cover more stuff. So if Jamie's down, and if you guys actually want to see more stuff like that too, that'd be great. And I'll get more videos out. I know I'm very slow at that, and this will make that easier for me too.
These aren't as in-depth, but it's also if you guys have questions about something specific beforehand, we could try to address those in the reviews, or not necessarily a review, discussion, whatever.
Yeah, it's like review/discussion. Yeah. So it's kind of giving you a different perspective, and not just me rambling at the camera the whole time, a different perspective, yours. And as long as you agree with me on every point, then we won't have a problem.
You won't get fired.
You won't get fired.
Just be down slaving away in the kitchen.
Yeah, you get back to my pies, making my meat pies.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, speaking of, Daddy's getting hungry.
What is in those meat pies?
Oh, it's in a Sweeney Todd situation, isn't it? I hope not. Or do I? Yum, 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 yum.
Oh, boy.
Yum, 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 yum. Speaking of, let's go grab some meat pies and call our daddies.
Yeah.
After the movie, it made me want to do that too. It's like, what if my dad was like that? What would I do? I don't know. Figure it out. I got to start with the mustache and the haircut, and I'll take it from there. Right? All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. Thanks, Jamie, for sticking with me and talking about weird movies. And hey, did you get a chance to check out Come to Daddy? If so, what'd you think about it? And if not, how'd you like the video? What did you think of what we told you about it? Yeah, we couldn't spoil everything. But anyway, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Thanks for watching FoundFlix. See y'all next time.
Goodbye.